Hello, how's everybody doing? Happy Friday and the start of November. And everybody doing good? Everybody doing good? Awesome. So here's the deal. It's November, December, right? Then we're into January. Okay. Starting in January, we are going to be starting to work through what we call the 8 financial breakthroughs. And we're going to walk through them step by step. This is a process for putting your wealth plan together. Okay. And it's going to be action oriented. In preparation for that, we're going to go through a couple of different books in the meantime. The first book is called The Power of Zero, and I'll be showing you some information out of there during this broadcast. But you want to get that book. It's called The Power of Zero by David McKnight. I'll show you a picture of it, but you want to go to Amazon or somewhere and pick that up. Okay? Because it's critical that we take action on what we're doing. Okay? It's not enough just to get this in our head. We have to take action on what we're doing. You guys agree with that? Okay. So this is something that's doable. It's totally doable. What we're going to be talking about is totally doable if you get started right now. Okay. And our ultimate goal is financial independence for you and generational wealth. How many folks out there have children? How many folks out there got children? I have three. I have three. And we're waiting for our first grandchildren, but they're coming. No pressure. My children, you see this? No pressure. Okay. Be the right person, find the right person, then get married and have kids. Okay. So, what I want to do here is share something with you. And then we're going to start walking through these slides here. And away we go. So, the reason we're doing this is that for years, for almost 200 years, um, people of color in America, I happen to be a Black American, we need a strategy to develop a sustainable economy for people of color, for Black folks. In 1860, we had 0.3% of the wealth in America. And right now, we represent 13% of the population or so, and we have less than 3% of the wealth, almost 200 years later. Something has to change in order for the wealth for our folks to continue to increase. Would you guys agree with that? Yes? Yes, no, maybe so? And I would say to you, we need to work together as a group. And I'm going to be introducing some things next year that you need to be aware of so that you can do that even on a larger scale. So we need to apply principles or keys to experience what I call God's promised land. God has created you in his image and likeness to be a creator, to be creative and to create things, to be creative and to create things. So be proud to be a Black person in America, and your existence is the proof of your magnificence. The average person that has been through what we've been through as a people wouldn't be around today. Okay? So what's critical is your perspective. What's critical is your perspective on making what we're going to walk through possible is going to be your perspective, how you see it. Okay. And I challenge you to think about what you think about. Take a hard look at your perspective, where you come from, the statements you make, the thoughts you think, both about your future, the future of Black people overall. Is it positive? Is it negative? Are you confident it's going to happen? Are you confident it won't happen? Why? Look, whatever's going to happen in the future is something you're going to make up in your own mind. Why not make it up where you win? Hello? Because you're not God. You can't make the future happen. But the future that is going to happen, more likely than not, is going to be the one you're thinking about. Why not think about one where you win? It takes as much energy to do that as something else. So why don't we do that? So everyone's got a worldview, a way of seeing the world. Where you sit, what you see is from where you sit. I would challenge you to have God's perspective on your life. I've got this in my bathroom. It says, Gus, why don't you look at the world as a place where God, your Father, is in total control of everything that happens to you and for you? That's the only way to walk by faith. God's in control, and He's only going to do or allow to happen to you that which pleases Him and is going to be for your best. Okay? So God has called you to be a certain person, to do a certain set of things, and to have a certain outcome. And if you'll hone in on His purposes, and we'll talk more and more about that as the year goes on, and you follow through on that, your provision is going to happen. Okay? Now, I want you to take this journey with me and get this journal and start journaling. Now it's 60 days. It's November and December. Start journaling about what you're grateful for and what God is showing you about yourself and your journey going forward. It's a time for prayer, meditation, fasting, journaling, reading your Bible, and putting these things in place. Okay, we started in October, now November, finish it out. Finish out the year strong, okay? So get that. You can see that, Rebuilding My Temple, a 90-day journey. Join me in our church and going through that, okay? Everybody got that? As the preacher would say, is anybody out there? Or am I talking to the lights in the wall? Or as my friend Marvin Golden said, that'd be nice if I could get some help in here. Let me know where you're listening from and where you're dialing in from on Facebook, okay? Sounds good. This is the book, Power of Zero, okay? This is the book, Power of Zero. Now, what I'm going to do here, real quick, just for a second, I'm going to, hello, Miss Sales out of Phoenix. Man, I was just down in Tucson. I went to school at the University of Arizona, and we had a reunion of a football team that went to a bowl game way back in the 70s, 1979. We went to the Fiesta Bowl. So there was a reunion of us. About 20 of us showed up. And we went to, we were out there and toured the sports facilities for Arizona football, went to a game in which we beat number 11 in the country, Oregon State. Great game. We beat them 27-24. It was awesome. We had a great time. Love Arizona. It's back on the list of places we might move to. So we'll see. We'll see. But get this book, The Power of Zero. Power of Zero by David McKnight. How to get to the 0% tax bracket and transform your retirement. How to get to the 0% tax bracket and transform your retirement. um, yeah, I'm gonna read something to you, okay? It says taxes will be increasing. This book is a wake-up call to reality. Why do I say taxes are going to be increasing? Or why does David McKnight say it? And why does the former comptroller of the United States say it? And why does common sense say it? It's a math problem. Question. As a country, are we spending more or less dollars than we did in the past? More. A lot more. We're writing checks to cover wars outside of our country, billions of dollars. Is the tax base in America getting bigger or smaller? Smaller. There are fewer people paying into the tax system now than there were 20 years ago. So if you got fewer people working and paying into the tax system and your spending is going up, what has to happen to taxes? The amount of taxes that the smaller group of taxpayers is paying, is it going to go up or down? It's going to go up. It's a math problem. Our government will soon need the huge cash infusions to meet its commitments. It will have no choice but to raise taxes on those of us who have worked hard, sacrificed, saved, played by the rules. We were told to put our money away for retirement. How many of you have your money in a four plan, a number four plan? What are you talking about, Gus? A number four plan. Well, the tax code starts with the number four, 401k, 403b, 457 plan. If your retirement plan starts with the number four, what that means is you're getting a tax break today and you're going to pay taxes when you retire. Your money's going to grow over the next 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years, and it's going to be a lot bigger than it is today. And when you take that money out, you're going to probably pay higher taxes in the future than you're paying today. How do you like that? How do you like that? Let's say you plan on bringing home 60 grand a year when you retire, and you're at a 10 or 15% tax bracket. That's $8,000 a year. You're retired for 20 years. That's 160 grand in Uncle Sam's pocket versus your pocket. How do you feel about that? This book is about how to set yourselves up to be in a 0% tax bracket when you retire. So if you're in a 0% tax bracket, it doesn't matter what happens to taxes. Because what are you going to pay? Zero. How many of you have never heard of this book before? Tell me in the chat. Hey, I never heard about this book. Never heard of it. Just let me know. Never heard of it. Never heard of it. Never heard of it. Never heard of it. Let me hear. Let me. Where you at? Have you heard of this? Check it out. Have you heard of this book? Yes or no? Have you heard of it? It's one thing. Have you heard of it? If you have, that's great. Number two, have you read it? And number three, are you putting it into practice? Because the only purpose for reading something is to actually apply it to your life. Does that make sense? Okay, so we're going to apply this to our life together. Okay, now it says those who save the most diligently, though, will soon realize that a substantial chunk of those tax deferred retirement savings are sitting ducks for a revenue hungry Uncle Sam. In fact, as your 401k partner on your savings, but unlike a traditional business partner, Uncle Sam can increase his partner percentage of your tax savings whenever he needs more money. And that day is coming real soon when the government's going to need more money. So what are they going to do? Raise the taxes on things like retirement and other things. The question is then, are you prepared? You can be, but unfortunately for most people, the answer is no, because they believe no way this can happen to them. But it can, and it will. We have had federal income tax rates exceeding 90% in the past. 90% tax rates in the past. 90%. In fact, from 1936 to 1981, the top federal tax income rate has never gone below 70 degrees. Hello? Top bracket, 70%. Okay? Man, that's a lot. But get this book, Power Zero. Okay? One of the next things we're going to talk about after that as we're doing this is your four levels of wealth. And you got to sit down and spend some time figuring out some numbers that we're going to talk to you about in a minute. Because I want to know where you're at. You don't have to tell publicly. Hit me up on email. Hit me up on email. Financial Freedom Fridays, Financial Freedom Fridays at gmail.com. Financial Freedom Fridays with a W. Put that S on there. Financial Freedom Fridays at gmail.com. Email me. Tell me, where are you? Financial stability, security, freedom, or abundance. Because we're going to talk about what each of these look like, what the numbers look like, and how to move from one level to the next. Does that sound exciting or what? Because our goal for everybody here is level 4, if you're willing to work for it. Because it's just not going to happen on its own. Now, the 8 financial breakthroughs are what we're gonna work on. Your financial awareness, protecting you from threats, outside threats to your family and your family's income. Looking at your cash flow, looking at your debt to income ratio, looking at your liquidity. Do you have money available to handle expenses that come up, to handle business opportunities that come your way? How are you set up financially? How are you set up to grow your income in the future? What about your legacy? What you want to leave for your family behind? And as we go through all of these, we're gonna talk about practical things you can do in each one of these steps to set them up. And number 8 is accountability. And this time every Friday can be a part of your accountability program where you come and check in with how you're doing. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, 4 key numbers I want you to figure out. And your total cash flow margin. And this is supposed to be income minus expenses. I was supposed to change that last week. I'm going to do it right after the show today. Income minus expenses equal cash flow. Income, your total income minus your total expenses equal your cash flow. Do you know what that number is every month? We need to know that number. We need to know it as soon as possible. And also look at your fixed expenses. What are things you have to pay no matter what? You can't do without them. You got to pay your rent or your mortgage. You want anywhere to live. Probably got to pay a car note. Probably a cell phone bill, your Wi-Fi, food, utilities. What are the non-negotiables that you have to pay? You want to know what that number is. So your total cash flow minus your non-negotiables is your non-discretionary cash flow margin. That number should be higher than your cash flow is today because you've knocked some things out of being things you have to do. Then I want you to look hard at the difference between those two numbers and ask yourself, do I have to spend that money? Or could I start saving it? Because when we go through the calculation of what you're going to need at retirement, I think you're going to be a little bit surprised at where you're at. Okay? Now, we want to look at monthly savings and monthly investments. When you say investments, you're going to put it away for 5 years or more. What's your savings and investment goal? The goal is 30%. Poor people save 10% of their money or less. Middle class people save about 20%. And people who are wealthy save 30% or more. Why is that? Because if you don't save, you won't improve your financial situation. If you don't save and invest, you can't improve your financial situation if you're not willing to do that. Does that make sense? Now, we talked about this. How do poor people look at money? Somebody type in the Facebook, what is true about how do poor people look at money? The purpose of money is to do what? Blank. The purpose of money is to do blank. What is it that poor people say? The purpose of money is to do blank. What is that blank? I want you to help me out now. Help me out now. The purpose of money is to do what? mm No takers, huh? And the purpose of money? The purpose of money for the poor person is to pay their bills. Spend it, yeah, just to pay their bills. You know, I owe, so off to work I go. It's to pay bills. That's just existence because basically when you pay bills, who are you giving your money to? Somebody other than you. And you're just surviving. You're just giving your money to somebody else. Poor people say I'm working to pay my bills. Middle class people say I'm working to have a better life, better car, better home, better clothes, better education for the kids, better experience for them. You know, it's what the middle class say. I need more money so I can have a better lifestyle. Better lifestyle. Wealthy people, how do they look at money? The purpose of money is to have it make more money. They're always looking for ways to make more money with their money because your money is lazy. Man, it wouldn't do anything. Somebody else has to pick it up and put it somewhere where it's going to work for you. It's called a financial professional. So poor people, typically about 10% savings, man, they're thinking about paying their bills. 20% concerned about the world, boom, save 20%. Wealthy, the people who they're not going to be poor because of what they're building. How much do they have in savings and investments? 30%. So come on, let's go. Does that make sense? 10, 20, 30%. Get that down. We're going to look at your net worth, what you own minus what you owe. So we're going to include and not include your home. So you write down all your debts, then everything you own that has value. Your home, your automobile, your business, all those things we're going to look at to figure out what your net worth is, what you own versus what you owe. And then your financial independence number. What age you want to start working for money? How much money do you want coming in? And from what sources? Investments, business, and real estate? Or you going to have to keep working yourself? I don't know. That's the question on the table. Okay. So that's pretty much what I wanted to share with you. Okay. I really want you to get this book, The Power of Zero by David McKnight. It's going to change your life as you start thinking about and getting into your retirement even a little bit more. Read the first three chapters for next week. We're going to cover the first three chapters of next week. There'll be a quiz, and we're going to highlight parts of the book, and we're going to walk through it so you can be prepared come in 2024 to make yourself a tax-free retirement miracle. Okay? Thank you. God bless.